Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Danielle, aka Stitcherista here on YouTube, and today is a Tuesday, May 17th. It is Trisha's birthday today. Trisha, 3 Owl Threads. So, go over there and wish her a happy birthday. So I did my junk journal page yesterday for Red Round Sampler, and it didn't quite turn out how I expected. That's fine. So here is the page. So remember, I already had this on there and this. I had these little red doilies that I bought from scrapbook.com. So I backed the piece actually with paper that had hearts in the background, so you can kind of see them peeking through. And then I just put, I love these little like adhesive brads. Yeah. So simple. Didn't really take me that long. Remember, I already had the journaling done too for it. So then I was on the hunt. What's my next piece going to be? And, excuse me, I decided I didn't want to stitch either one of the perforated paper kits that I got from Just Another Button Company. And I spent some time yesterday really looking through my patterns, and nothing was catching my eye. And you know, normally I would be like, God damn it, irritated. I actually just sat with it. I wasn't irritated. I just said, okay, maybe I need to just put this aside and something will come to me. So then I got on my computer and I was looking through my PDFs on there because I don't have all of my PDFs in my markup app. So, wait a minute, let me scoot this back just a little bit. There we go, so I can sit back. Yeah, it's like 80 fucking degrees here today. I hate it! I hate summer. I hate summer. I endure summer. I count down to the fall. So I have a short sleeve shirt on because I went out today to the UPS store, which I will talk about in a minute. But then when I come in the house, I'm chilly. So then, sweater. So I'm looking through my patterns and I was like, it hit me. What one to do. So I'm going to show you. It is called My Blood Type is Coffee. I have so many coffee patterns I want to do. I'm just going to do them. I just love stitching them so much. So let me show you. It only calls for 2 colors. It's very small. I could probably do it in one day. What is taking so long? Okay, no, I can't show you that because that's the pattern. Okay. Let me turn the grid off. Okay, and I forget who this is actually by, but I mean, it's pretty small too. It's only 2 by 2.5 inches. But there it is. See, my blood type is coffee. 3 little coffee cups. And I pulled all of the colors that they said, which are these beautiful browns. But I actually think I'm going to do the words in Petite Treasure Braid. Remember that gold, that coppery color I used for the teacup steam? Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. And I am doing it on Pink Frost perforated paper because I had some left over after doing the last one. There's the paper. Don't you love that washi tape? I am seriously considering leaving the washi tape on it. I pulled that out and put it on there and I was like, oh my God, I love it. So I haven't started it yet because I didn't stitch last night. I was watching coloring on YouTube. And by the way, speaking of coloring, I took the coloring book to the UPS store. Yes, we can do that, no problem. So fuck you, Office Depot. Which, by the way, I never heard back from Office Depot. Shocker, right? And UPS store is like half the distance to Office Depot. Lady was very nice. She had purple hair, which I loved. She said, do you want to wait? Or do you want to come back? And I'm like, I'll come back. She goes, okay, it'll take me a little bit. So I'll come back in like an hour or two. Yeah, fuck Office Depot. And somebody commented, and I forgot to say this when I was talking about it. I got the impression, and I may have been totally wrong, that woman at Office Depot just did not, I know I keep adjusting this shirt, the neck of it, it's like, I got the feeling that she didn't want to do it. Not that they wouldn't do it. She just didn't feel like doing it. And, yeah. And it's only costing $4. It was like $6 or $7 when I had it done at Office Depot. So fucking score there. So let's go UPS store. Very nice people in there. So my next piece. So it's going to be that one. And I already did the scrapbook page for it because I kind of looked ahead. So here is what I did. The piece I'm going to put on this because this is 4x4, this paper. And so the piece is going to be smaller than that. So you'll be able to see some of the green. I think it'll look good. And then on the other side, I did this. Don't you love her? And so I'm going to do a journal page on here. Now, what I want to do, because I know Bill bought it for me for my birthday, the HP Sprocket, where you can print out, it's sticker paper and you can print it out. I'm going to purchase some journal, like digi art, like journal art on Etsy. I don't know. It's not that expensive. It's a couple bucks. And then I can print it out and do a journaling on there. So that's what I want to do. I want to do journaling on that side. You know, the name of the design and all that kind of stuff. And then I started looking ahead. So the next page, because remember, I'm going in order. I mean, I have all of these pages done. I've done really well, right? I think I've done really good. This is the next page. Don't you love this? I love the paper in the next couple pages. It's like this beautiful blue. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do on here? Because there's this. There's a hot cocoa design that I want to do where it says, but first hot cocoa. And the but first is in blue. And I'm like, ooh, I think I'm going to do that. And that probably will be the first piece where I try it on the 18 count perforated paper. Because I haven't tried anything on there yet. And I'll just stitch it on the white because it's blue and brown. That's it. And that way, if I stitch it on 18 count, it'll fit on there with no problem. So yeah, loving the book. It's turning out so fabulous. Absolutely loving it. And yeah, I've had a lot of fun doing these pages. And yeah. Okay, so talking point. On the same vein, sort of, and there it is tied. See, it's going to be fat. That's why you need ribbon closure. So, let's set this here. Saved. Okay. Now, this person posted this in a cross-stitch Facebook group. Keep that in mind. By the way, this is my favorite, besides the apple one, the lemonade one. This is my favorite bang drink, Froze Rosé. Oh my God, it's so good. I haven't had one of those drinks, though, in weeks since I've been sick. Okay. So this person posted this in a cross-stitch group. And I read the first sentence and I was like, what the actual fuck? I do not like cross-stitching, sorry. Why are you in this group then? That was my first thought. They said, don't get me wrong. I love the look of finished cross-stitch projects, which is why I forced myself to learn how to cross-stitch. You shouldn't have to learn to force yourself to do any craft. That needs to be one part of your life, just my opinion, where you're not forcing yourself to do something. I have so many projects started and bought that I would wish to see framed, but the process of cross-stitching is so time-consuming and painful for the body, neck, back, hands, wrists, and fingers. There are ways to combat that. You're probably not quite doing it right. Need a good chair. Need a stand. Q-snap. All that stuff. Hats off to all you cross-stitchers out there completing those big and small projects. I see a lot of process stitchers who have over 100 projects started. Some they would never display in their homes, even if finished. For them, it's the process that matters. And we talked about that before, right? For me, I want to see the pieces I love framed with my blood and sweat on them that I can look at with pride and brag to my family and friends about. I'm not that rich to be able to afford for someone else to do the dirty work either, meaning they can't afford custom framing. So I'm sitting here spending hours and hours on something I call my hobby, and they have hobby in quotes, because I'm a sucker for its outcome. I just hate the process. Sorry if I sound evil or have spoken blasphemy, but I feel like I'm the only one who's stuck in this mindset. No, that person's not. And I mean, there was a long time, like a whole year, I didn't cross stitch. Sometimes you get burnt out on it. And yeah, I'm out of wall space. So now I stitch the small things, put them in the book. So there were a lot of comments. Someone said, I don't even know how to respond to that. I love the whole thing, from choosing a project, putting it all together, and stitching it. And someone said, I know one of the complaints you said was about pain. It shouldn't hurt. How exactly are you stitching and using what tools? There are many hoops and frames. Absolutely. And someone said, you don't have to love the process, but if you love the outcome, it does make the rest tolerable. Someone said, I'm not a fan of cooking, but I like to eat. You know, the same kind of thing. But I am a firm believer in that if you don't like the craft you're doing, why are you doing it? I don't quite understand that part. And I think we all need to just give ourselves grace. And I've said this before, when we're doing something, like with the coloring. Coloring a page, if you really want to color it like really, really well and full, it's not going to be an easy process. You have to enjoy it. I love color. So I have some Hannah Lynn books, some pocket ones that I also took to the UPS store to get bound. She has 2 pocket-sized books, which to me, I'm going to probably do some of those first because I have a snowball's chance in hell of completing a page when it's only like this big, right? And there are so many people, like I said, we have seen you're either a process stitcher or you just, you know, you love to finish it and put it up in your house. For me, I do like to see the stuff, whether it's in the book, on the walls. When I finish something, when I finish stitching it, I do finish it one way or another. It usually does not sit. But nothing against the ones that do that. There are people that just love the process of stitching. But it's just, that's unfortunate. That post was just unfortunate. And I was just like, wow. Okay, we have some OMG moments because I haven't done that in a hot minute. So the very first one, this is by Shia Lepo. It took her 3 months to do this. And she said, I think this will be the last 14 count pattern I would do. Well, first of all, this looks like one of those dimensions kits or something. This is magnificent though. I mean, look at that. Solid stitching. Dude, right? Yeah. And it's probably huge. I guarantee. Okay. This is a work in progress, but I wanted to show you guys. Nessie Rhea. She posted in the Carolyn Manning Designs cross stitch. She is doing the Orca pattern. She has pages 1, 2, and 3 complete, starting page 4, stitched with the called for DMC on 18 count navy Ada, and it is stunning. Oh, look at that. Oh my God. Doesn't it look so beautiful? Yes, I will do a Carolyn Manning Designs at some point. Again, I really will. Love that. Okay, and I also have some coloring OMGs in here because of I joined some coloring groups. This is by Joan Antliff, and the artist is Budek Mariola. I bookmarked this one because I want to try to color a Hannah Lynn hair like this. I'm just like, look at the girl's hair. Isn't it stunningly beautiful? And that's the great thing about coloring is you can color it any color you want. Yeah. I've been watching a tutorial because I want to know the color pencils that they use to color skin well. And I have like a pencil case, so I'm going to pull those out and like set them aside just so I always have them there. There's someone I watch, I want to say it's Julie's Passion for Coloring. Julie's Coloring something. She has, most people I see use like 8 pencils, 8 different colors for skin. No, I don't need to be that complicated with it. This person uses like 3, so yeah. And then here's another one. This is in a group. This is by Jessica Stiers. She just started adult coloring, and this is in Johanna Basford's World of Flowers. And I thought this was really stunning for just starting coloring. I thought she did such a fantastic job on that. Yeah, looks so good. Okay, I have 3 more OMG moments. So this one is one that actually McKenna sent me. And this is stitched by Fiona King. And it is Orchids by Threadbare. That's the company. So she says, I'm not super neat when it comes to the back side, but neither am I a don't care at all person. I always think of the front of my project as being realism, while the back is impressionist. But man, the back almost looks like the front. So I don't know what the hell she's talking about. So here is the front. I looked at this for so long. That is stitched. What? It's stitched. I can't even with that. Now, here is the back. I don't know what she's talking about, but doesn't the back look like the fucking front? Yeah. It looks like the front. And I guarantee you someone said that. Someone said, oh, the back, I just threw that thing together, and shows photo of the back that looks flawless. Both sides look awesome. Wow, that just, wow. Okay, and here is a little funny. I laughed so hard when I saw this. Summer Vasquez posted in a cross-stitch group that says, finished. I can't believe how lifelike these hay designs are. Heaven and Earth designs. I mean, I feel like I can reach out and touch it. Her cat is sitting on the design. So, yeah. Oh, I laughed for like 5 minutes. That just caught me on my funny bone, you know. So funny, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's lifelike, all right. And then the final OMG is Mirabilia's Seaside Kingdom. This person did it on, this is Melissa Kay. She did it on fabric that is called Sand, Sea, Sky, 28 count Lugana from Sunny Dyes. I've ordered some fabric from Sunny Dyes, and it's actually really pretty fabric. But this is amazing. Look at that fabric. I mean, is that not perfection for that? Dude, that looks so good. Yeah, so that was some good OMG moments, wasn't it? Like I said, I hadn't done any in a hot minute. Let me tell you, in the mornings now, besides doing the Wordle, and my current streak is 11, so I'm aiming to get, my last streak was 75, so I'm aiming to beat that. Finally, I downloaded the TikTok app on my phone the other day. Holy fucking hell. Man, went down a rabbit hole. I watched them for like an hour and a half. Like, you can just flip and watch and watch. And if you follow me on Instagram, you notice I've been posting some ones that I really like. It's so easy. They say share, and you can share to Instagram. Love it. There's a guy on there, and I forget his name. He makes these recipes, these cakes from like 1950. And just the way he is, what is his damn name? I follow him on TikTok now. He is so funny with the way he mixes the ingredients, and then everything he makes like tastes amazing. The one I watched today, he made a beet chocolate cake. He was like, beets? He was like, oh my God, it was so good. He has this cookbook from like 1950 or something. Yeah, he's hilarious. And what's funny is, what I found out is that, you know, TikTok learns what you watch. So when you click on it, it is showing you things like, there's so many amazing people on there. And how it can be addictive is that the video is only like a minute. So you can just scroll, watch. Before I knew it, literally, I laid in bed yesterday morning, an hour had gone by. And I was like, oh my God. So good though. So entertaining. And yeah, I don't consider that wasted time. Like, just really love that. And so Peter Mon, let's talk about him again for a second. So I watched, he had his first review video back on his review channel. And let me tell you, I didn't realize how much I had really missed his videos. When he said his intro, I actually like teared up. And I thought that was a weird reaction, but then I'm like, no, it wasn't, because what he has come back from is nothing short of a miracle. And he's just back, and I'm just so happy. So I've been commenting on all of his videos now that I've been watching. And I just love him so much. He is probably the only YouTuber out there that I can listen to talk all day. Like, I was doing some cleaning yesterday. Oh, we got the vacuum part. You guys knew my vacuum was broken for like a month, right? Because of Bill. He broke it. And I tried to order the part from 2 different manufacturers, and neither one knew when they would get it in, so I canceled those orders. Now, mind you, when we bought the vacuum was like $300, right? The part that I'm trying to get retail is $42. Keep that in your head. 2 companies, though, can't fucking get it. And I said to Bill, he's like, why don't we look on eBay? And we look, and they had the part, $105. And he's like, well, we either spend $105 or we're having to buy a new vacuum, which the vacuums are even more expensive now. So we bought the part, came in yesterday. I vacuumed this morning, worked great. So got a vacuum now. And yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah. Oh, when I was cleaning yesterday, I was watching Peter's vlog, and he literally is the only person that I can just sit there and listen to in the background. So I have enjoyed his podcast, his videos very, very much. And I wish him well, him and his husband and all of his friends and family that have rallied around him and really helped him, because he can't drive for an entire year. And I personally even think that when he is approved to drive, he's probably going to be afraid to. I think I would. So yeah, I wish him well, and I'll watch anything he puts up. He has like 6 channels. I don't watch all 6 though. I watch his review channel and his vlog channel and his main channel where he does like beauty drama and stuff like that. But yeah, his vlog channel now, he used to vlog, he used to ride around at night for like an hour and talk. And now that he's not doing that, he just sits on his porch. And I actually like that much better, because he seems much calmer when he's doing it on his front porch. And now that it's nice weather, you know, he's not limited by the weather. But yeah, so if you watch him and like him, please go over there and give him some love, because he has received some hate here recently, and it's just awful. But also, I wanted to thank everybody who left comments about how my channel is perfect just the way it is. So I appreciate that very much, because that was my exact thought. How I am on this channel is how I am in my life. Anyone who watches this channel that has met me in person knows that. And I'm so happy because Cindy, who is one of my subscribers and also someone who I've met in person now at 2 retreats in Ocean City, she told me she just texted me today because we exchanged phone numbers. She was on the wait list for the New Jersey retreat, the Flosstube retreat in New Jersey in July for 2023, but she just got an email or something. I don't know if it was today. It must have been in the past few days. She got an email saying that a spot opened up, so she's going. And I was like, yay, because I love her. She's hilarious. Very, just a wonderfully warm and caring person. And she's a lot of fun to hang around with. So I said, ooh, you can sit at my table, because there's a couple ladies that did sit at my table, 3 years ago, that aren't able to go. So I'll have some openings. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I'm telling you that July is going to be here before we know it. It's already just 2 months away now. It's going to be here before we know it. So not looking forward to the drive. It's a little over 3 hours for me. That's not hateful. But yeah, I'm not really. But I'm going to make sure I leave early in the morning on Thursday, because the retreat doesn't start until 3 o'clock on Thursday. And what I'll probably try to do, because I normally don't film like at a retreat, in the retreat part, especially at the ones in Ocean City, because not that they would be against it, but I like to preserve people's privacy, you know what I mean? But at the Flosstube retreat, so many people are on Flosstube, and a lot of them know my channel and everything, so I might walk around with my tripod and just film the tables, and you can see different people and all of that. So I'm going to consider, because you guys know I do the vlog, so I'm going to consider that for that time. And because there's usually one night there where I do take the time to walk around, and that takes a while, because it's like over 100 people. It's like 110 people that go. And yeah, so I usually take the time to walk around, visit each table, all of that. And it's going to be, and this is so funny, because I am an emotional person, meaning, like, when I go to see these people in July, it's going to be emotional, because I haven't seen most of these people. I mean, any of them don't come to the other stuff. So I haven't seen any of these people in like 3 years. And it's overwhelming to see that many people that I've either watched on YouTube, because, like, I don't know if Michelle Bendy Stitchy's going, but she was there, and Emily and Letitia and Jessie Marie. I mean, there were so many people there that I had watched on YouTube, and then to meet all of them in person, it is overwhelming. And McKenna and Arlene, and just so many wonderful, Ryan from Wild Violet, Trisha from 3 Owl Threads. I keep thinking of people. Tons of people that go to this. Excuse me. And it's probably the same thing, I would guess, people that go to StitchCon. I don't think I'll ever get to that one, only because I'd have to fly, and I'm just like, not that I couldn't, but I'd like to drive, and to drive to Ohio would be like a 10-hour drive for me, and fuck you, I'm not doing that. So, but anyway, okay, I thought we would do a true crime story today. We're going to do a true crime story, and we will do then a little motivational one to kind of like cleanse our brain, right? And then we will read the Unfuck Yourself entry, and then that will be a wrap. So, today's story is called Malevolent, and it is a cold case. I'm reading a cold case book. So at least we know that these are solved, right? That is, oh, by the way, before I read the story, are you guys watching the show Candy on Hulu with Jessica Biel? I've not started watching it yet. Jill keeps telling me to watch it. I'm going to try to watch one tonight. It's a series on there. Haven't watched it, but it's based on a true story, and Jessica Biel's a fantastic actress, so love her. So I definitely need to start watching that. But okay, so Malevolent. There is something particularly heartrending about the murder of a disabled person. Oh God. Do I need to do a different story? Let's skip this one. We're going to skip that one because I just fucking can't. Okay. God, these stories are horrible. I can't. I cannot. The next one was about a child. I can't read that. Okay, we're going to read this one. This one's called The Running Man. On a temperate October morning in 1984, 14-year-old Lisa Steedman was standing with her grandmother in the garden of their Tempe, Arizona home when a man came running towards them. That would be bizarre, right? The man was dressed in shorts and a hoodie. He was wearing a backpack and he was obviously in a rush. In fact, he was moving at such a pace that he almost knocked Lisa's grandmother to the ground. This angered the teenager so much and that she set off after the man, planning to give him a piece of her mind when she caught up with him. Unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, like, don't fucking chase somebody. Are you insane? He was faster than Lisa and soon disappeared between the houses. Lisa then returned to her own home where she found her grandmother shaken but unhurt. Lisa began relating to the older woman the details of her failed pursuit, and then she paused and sniffed the air. Was that smoke that she smelled? Oh boy, did this guy set a fire? It was, and it was getting stronger. Lisa walked towards the drive and looked right towards her neighbor's property in the direction from which the running man had come. Then she saw it, a sheen of smoke billowing from the upper window of the condo next door. The property was occupied by Kathleen Smith, a student at Mesa Community College. Lisa wasn't sure if Kathleen was home or not, but that much smoke suggested a serious situation. Running inside, she picked up the phone and called the fire department. Firefighters who responded to the scene found a fierce blaze burning on the ground floor. And it was immediately clear to them that this was no accident. The stench of gasoline pervaded the house. Then, in the midst of the flame and smoke, they spotted a charred human corpse. Ooh. The body was carried outside, but there was nothing to be done for the unfortunate woman. In fact, the burns were not the only injury she had suffered. There was significant trauma to her head. So, yeah, you're not covering up, not unless you burn that body to a crisp, right? You're not going to be covering up anything. Even if it's blunt force trauma, sometimes if it cracks the skull, like even if the body is burned, there are indents on the skull. Just saying. Kathleen Smith was just 20 years old when she met her terrible end. The youngest of 3 siblings, Kathleen was from a prominent Arizona family. Her father owned one of the largest waste management companies in the state, while her mother was active in Tempe city politics. Kathleen was beautiful, intelligent, talented. She was one of the top-ranked dressage riders in the United States. Is that a horse thing? What is that? She was also ambitious and had recently purchased a Subway franchise. Okay. Aside from that, she was a popular, independent, and caring young woman, and yet someone had wanted her dead. The who and why would be for the Tempe police to figure out. Okay, I'm going to do a little side note because I saw this joke on TikTok and I died laughing. If I can remember it. McDonald and Burger King were fighting in front of a Popeyes over Wendy. And, oh God, I'm messing it up. Something about the funeral was going to be at KFC, and if you wanted to go, we could take the Subway. Like, trying to incorporate all of these. It was so funny the way that she told it, though. I just messed it up. Anyway. So initially, the police were very interested in the running man who had come from the direction of Kathleen's apartment just moments before it burst into flames. Lisa Steedman was able to give a cursory description of the man. She had seen him for only a moment and he had been moving fast. She did, however, state that he had sandy blonde hair. A more definitive clue came from a shoe impression left in a flower bed in the Steedman's garden. This was size 9 and was believed to have been left by the suspect. I mean, police can even determine the shoe if it's a good enough print. One thing was obvious to investigators right from the start. This wasn't a random killing. It wasn't a robbery or a sexual assault. This was personal. That narrowed the suspect pool significantly. Looking into Kathleen's background, the police found that she had a steady boyfriend, a young man named Sam Cayley. Brought in for questioning, and apparently distraught Cayley wasn't able to provide a verifiable alibi. He did, however, agree to take a polygraph, which he passed. Sam Cayley was off the hook for now as the police moved on to their next suspect. His name was Robert Ortloff, and he was Kathleen's partner in the Subway franchise. Robert Ortloff and Kathleen Smith had been friends since childhood. They had even dated briefly. Intelligent, driven, and hardworking, Ortloff seemed like just the kind of person you would want as a business partner. He and Kathleen seemed to complement each other well. Everyone who knew them expected their venture to succeed and thrive. Wow, this story is so long. Holy shit. Ortloff was easy enough to find. He was managing his mother's flower shop while he awaited the opening of his new business. One look at him and detectives immediately elevated him up their suspect list. He had very clear scratches on his neck. Asked about this, Ortloff said that a shelf had fallen on him at the flower shop. Then one of the investigators noticed that Ortloff was limping and asked him about it. He said that he had kicked a wall when he had heard about Kathleen's death, breaking his toe in the process. What? Sus. Neither of these explanations really satisfied the police. What were the chances that Ortloff just happened to suffer these injuries on the very day that his business partner was beaten to death? But then Ortloff came up with an alibi. He said that he had been at the flower shop at the time of the murder. One of his mother's employees even backed him up. Only later would police learn that Ortloff was dating the woman. I'm sorry, I'm not lying for your dumb ass. Nope. No. Robert Ortloff was allowed to leave, but still investigators remained suspicious of him. Their next move was to return to the Steedman residence and to present Lisa with a photo array, like a selection of photos. Without hesitation, she picked out Ortloff as the man she had seen running from Kathleen Smith's house. There was a problem, though. Lisa had described the running man's hair as sandy blonde, and Ortloff had dark hair. And Ortloff wore a size 13 shoe, whereas the print lifted from the Steedman's garden was size 9. Confronted with these discrepancies, Lisa wavered. She couldn't be sure. And remember, Lisa's 14. Keep that in mind. There is a popular trope in Hollywood crime thrillers, one that has investigators following the money to solve a crime. And unlike most other cliches that the movies dredge up, this one actually has some truth to it. With the suspect pool rapidly drying up, detectives decided to delve into the finances of Kathleen's business venture, and what they found was informative. Follow the money. Kathleen and her business partner had each put up $50,000 to fund the venture. But as is almost always the case, additional costs had crept in. A problem with the restaurant's plumbing had necessitated an additional $3,000. Kathleen had obtained her share of the money via a loan from a family member. Robert Ortloff decided on a more nefarious source of finance. He had forged a check for $7,500 on his grandfather's bank account. What? No. Unfortunately for him, this deception was discovered and he was forced to pay back the money. So now Ortloff's in a bind, right? What was he going to do? Was he going to obtain the funds by legitimate means? Was he going to tell Kathleen that he was tapped out? In Ortloff's case, it was neither. Instead, he heaped deception upon deception and started drawing funds from the joint business account that he and Kathleen held, the account that was to provide the working capital for their new business. Ooh, no. Kathleen first became aware of this when she wrote a check to the plumber and realized that her bank balance was far less than it should have been. Only Ortloff could have made this withdrawal, but Kathleen did not confront him directly. Instead, she spoke to her brother, who advised her to get a copy of the check from the bank and to take it from there. She had a meeting scheduled with her account manager on the very morning that she was killed. How convenient. This was damning stuff, providing Ortloff with a powerful motive for murder. But there was more. The insurance policy that Kathleen and Ortloff had taken out on the business included a life component. Only Kathleen was covered under this clause, and the payoff was substantial. Robert Ortloff stood to gain $125,000 from his partner's death. In fact, he had already lodged a claim which had been turned down due to the ongoing police investigation. Again, sus. To the Tempe Police Department, this all added up to a strong circumstantial case against Robert Ortloff. Unfortunately for them and for Kathleen's family, the Maricopa County Attorney's Office felt differently. Motive had been established, but there was no real evidence against Ortloff. In fact, there was evidence that pointed away from him, the shoe print, for example, and the eyewitness identification. This would undoubtedly be seized on by a defense attorney at trial. It was the very definition of reasonable doubt, and if Ortloff was acquitted, that would be it. The county would never be able to bring murder charges again. All things considered, the county attorney's call was probably the right one, even if it left the Smith family frustrated. They would continue to harbor these feelings of injustice until January 1986, when Robert Ortloff attracted police attention for a different crime. So what year was this? 84, was it? Okay, so 2 years later. Ortloff was at this time back to managing his mother's flower shop, where a new employee had caught his eye. Ortloff made a major play for the young woman, only to be rebuffed at every turn. She already had a boyfriend, a soldier serving at a base in El Paso, Texas. Eventually, aggravated with his lack of progress, Ortloff decided to eliminate the competition. He did it by sending the soldier a parcel bomb. What? I can't. This device detonated inside a barracks room at the base when the young recruit opened a package he had received from an unknown source. Fortunately, Ortloff's skills as a bomb maker were not up to snuff, and his target suffered only minor injuries. But as a bombing on a U.S. military base was always going to trigger a rigorous response from the federal authorities, and Ortloff had hardly been meticulous in his planning, he had left a clear fingerprint on the packaging. You big dummy. You big freaking dummy. It wasn't long before he was in custody. Tried and found guilty of attempted murder, he was sentenced to 50 years in prison. Fuck! What? For the Smith family, this was a form of justice. They remained convinced that Robert Ortloff had killed their sister and daughter. Now at least he was behind bars. But Ortloff was not sitting idly in his prison cell. No, he wasn't. Despite a conclusive case against him, he remained insistent that he had been framed, determined to secure a reversal of his sentence. He would be thwarted in those attempts over the next 13 years. Then, in 1999, he received a boost in his quest for freedom. A new cellmate was assigned to him, a man even more notorious than Ortloff himself. Fred Tokars was a disgraced Atlanta attorney serving a life term for the murder-for-hire killing of his wife, Sarah, who was gunned down in front of the couple's sons, aged 4 and 6 at the time. Those details were of less interest to Ortloff than the fact that Tokars was a qualified lawyer. He quickly recruited his cellmate's help in preparing yet another appeal. But Ortloff should have taken heed of the old adage that there is no honor among thieves. That idiom undoubtedly applies to murderers as well. As Ortloff became more comfortable with Tokars, he confessed to him that he had committed a murder in Tempe, Arizona back in 1984 and gotten away with it. Again, you big freaking dummy. Although, attorneys, confidential, attorney-client privilege, all that crap. Ortloff might have thought that this conversation was covered by attorney-client privilege, but it wasn't. Tokars was no longer an attorney, having been disbarred years earlier. He was also a man of few scruples who wasted little time in trading his client's confession for whatever privileges it would buy. The details of this confession were passed on to Kathleen's brother Kelly by a lawyer representing Tokars. The deal on offer was this. Tokars would appear as a prosecution witness at trial. In exchange, he wanted to be moved from the general prison population into protective custody. Kelly Smith promised to do what he could and immediately contacted the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. Prosecutors, though, were less than enthused by the offer. Fred Tokars was a convicted murderer offering up uncorroborated information for his own benefit, and he also had a reputation as a liar. Man, that reminds me of like Shawshank Redemption, where the guy comes in and, you find out that Tim Robbins really was innocent, and he tells the warden, and the warden kills the guy because he doesn't want what Tim Robbins is doing for the warden to stop, and oh my God, right. Tokars' testimony did not strengthen their case in any way. It might even weaken it. And so Kathleen Smith's case remained where it had been for over a decade and a half, confined to a dusty file cabinet at the Tempe Police Department. 4 more years would pass before Maricopa County officials could be convinced to charge Robert Ortloff. He eventually went on trial in 2008, 24 years after the murder of Kathleen Smith. But prosecutors still had some major obstacles to overcome. The first of those was Ortloff's alibi provided for him by his then-girlfriend. Now the woman came forward and admitted on the stand that Ortloff had asked her to cover for him. Then there was Lisa Steedman's testimony. She had told the police that the man she saw that day had sandy blonde hair. I was mistaken about that, she now told the jury. I only saw him for a few seconds and he was wearing a hoodie. Steedman also contradicted another piece of evidence that she had given all those years ago. Back then, she said that the man had stepped in the flower bed as he passed, leaving the imprint of his size 9 sneaker. Now she retracted and said that the man could not have stepped in the flower bed given the direction he was running. These retractions removed some significant obstacles to a successful prosecution. However, it was the testimony of Fred Tokars that put the final nail in Ortloff's coffin. Ortloff had revealed details of the murder to Tokars that had not been made public, details that only the killer could have known. He had said that he had killed Kathleen because he was afraid that she would go to the police and lay charges of fraud against him. He had been hiding in her apartment when she entered, had crept up behind her, looped a rope around her neck, and tried to strangle her. Jesus Christ. Kathleen had fought hard for her life, scratching him as they tussled and fell to the floor. He had then picked up some heavy object and bludgeoned her into submission with it. Then he had drenched the place with gasoline from a bottle he had brought with him in his rucksack. He had struck a match, applied it to an improvised wick, and left, sprinting past a stunned Lisa Steedman. He might well have gotten away with murder had he been able to keep his mouth shut. Now, though, Robert Ortloff's defense was in tatters. The jury took just 5 hours to convict, and Ortloff was subsequently sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. The running man had been run to ground at last. I'm telling you, the two top things that people commit murders for, money and love. So money to me is number one. Absolutely. He was afraid she was going to go to the police because he had been stealing money, and yeah. So that was horrific. I mean, at least he had been in prison for 13 years and then got convicted again, but God, it took 24 years to get justice for the family. I don't even know how you do that. Okay. Oh, that's right. We're going to read a motivational story because we need a brain cleanser after that one, right? All right. So this one is called Put All Your Burdens Down, Don't Carry Them Through the Night and Into the Next Day with You. Before I even read the story, that is easier said than done. But once upon a time, a psychology professor walked around on a stage while teaching stress management principles to an auditorium filled with students. As she raised a glass of water, everyone expected that they would be asked the typical glass half empty or glass half full question. Instead, with a smile on her face, the professor asked, "How heavy is this glass of water I'm holding?" Students shouted out answers ranging from 8 ounces to a couple pounds. And she replied, "From my perspective, the absolute weight of this glass doesn't matter. It all depends on how long I hold it. If I hold it for a minute or two, it's fairly light. If I hold it for an hour straight, its weight might make my arm ache a little. If I hold it for a day straight, my arm will likely cramp up and feel completely numb and paralyzed, forcing me to drop the glass to the floor. In each case, the weight of the glass doesn't change, but the longer I hold it, the heavier it feels to me." Wow, that's good. So as the class shook their heads in amazement, she continued, "Your stresses and worries in life are very much like this glass of water. Think about them for a while and nothing happens. Think about them a bit longer and you begin to ache a little. Think about them all day long and you will feel completely numb and paralyzed, incapable of doing anything else until you drop them." So the conclusion: it's important to remember to let go of your stresses and worries. No matter what happens during the day, as early in the evening as you can, put all your burdens down. Don't carry them through the night and into the next day with you. If you still feel the weight of yesterday's stress, it's a strong sign that it's time to put the glass down. Absolutely love that. Love. So, put the glass down, right? All right, so how are we going to continue to unfuck ourselves? That was a pretty good one. Put the glass down. I may start saying that, right? Remember, today is May 17th. Oh, that was a good tear. That was a good one. This is your opportunity. This is your shot. I trust my instinct. I trust my instinct now on more things than I used to in the past, right? I think we tend to not trust our instinct when it's inconvenient, as in if it's going to go against something somebody wants you to do. You got to be steadfast, though. Our instincts, our gut, it's there for a reason. I like that. This is your opportunity. This is your shot. I wake up and I'm like, okay, what's the world going to bring me today? Right? All right, guys. So I hope you are all having a great week, a great Tuesday. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing and spending about 50 minutes of your time with me today. And I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.